I'll probably die from this eventually, but whatever. It's a super good question and an even harder one to answer
Yeah.
because human beings cannot multitask.
Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and I'm already smiling because I serious cannot believe this is happening. Today I'm here with John Hammond, which is kind of surreal to be honest. And the first thing that I would like to do is to ask John to, if you can present yourself. I know a lot of people already know who you are, but for those people that are actually living under a rock, who are you, John? What excites you? What you do? Go ahead.
Well, hey, thanks so much for letting me come hang out. I mean, I super honored and just flattered to be able to spend some time with you. You don't, it's cheesy. Hey, no need to like, I'm nervous or anything. No, we're just hanging out. We're having a good time, and it's awesome to be here. My name is John Hammond, right? I'm a cybersecurity content creator, a security researcher over at Huntress, which is my day job. It's sort of like managed threat detection, trying to see how hackers are getting access, maintaining access, and how we can get them out. That feels a little bit more blue team like, but on YouTube and for other content that I create, it's much more red team like in pen testing and ethical hacking, all that fun stuff with Capture the Flag. That's the stuff that I really love and I really enjoy. And it's exciting to me to, I don't know, just see how fulfilling it can be when you're doing good work in cybersecurity. It really makes a difference. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. And today I'm going to try very hard not to ask you the same questions you get asked like every time you get into something like this. And so before we go there, let me just ask you, is there something that you're excited about that you'd like to share or talk about? I know you just had a busy day with this new vulnerability. So how was it?
Yeah, so today I felt so bad. David, we were messaging back and forth, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm super sorry. Can we delay this for like a half hour? And it's like, oh, shoot, sorry, can we delay it just like 5 minutes? I'm almost done with the work thing. But if anyone wasn't tracking, the day that we record this is when there was chatter about like the Spring Core RCE 0 day, a new vulnerability that is like, oh, allegedly like Log4 Shell round 2 for Log4j vulnerability.
Yeah.
But it's a little confusing because there was a Spring Cloud vulnerability that came out this month, and this thing is supposed to be for Spring Core, but it doesn't have a CVE assigned to it yet. And a lot of folks are trying to scratch in their head, like, is this thing legitimate? Is this just like a lot of hot air? Is this like, what is this supposed to be? I know it's a deserialization vulnerability, but is it just something, got dropped from VX Underground and suddenly there's a blog to spin stuff up about it? I've been trying to dig into that, but also trying to balance a lot of the other stuff I'm up to. Mm-hmm. Thank you for letting me kind of chat about, hey, the other stuff going on. We're preparing for NomCon CTF.
Sure.
Folks kind of keep up with the stuff that I end up doing. I like to host a lot of Capture the Flag training and education for the wider world. Mm-hmm. And we've done that with other great creators, Nomsec, Stoke, a lot of other great folks might know him.
Yeah, he's great.
We got to hang out with the Cyber Mentor for a little bit of that some past years. So it's just super cool to get the community together. And those are the stuff that I'm most passionate and excited about when like, we got a new project in the works. It's all of us joining forces.
Yeah, and we are going to talk a little bit about that down the line, more about getting to know each other, getting to work within the other people within the community, and that's awesome, man. And the first thing that I would like to talk with you about is about content creation. So you started off by saying that you're a content creator, and so the thing that I would like to ask you is that sometimes we get caught up with this feeling of we need to feed the beast that is the algorithm, right? And people don't understand how much work it requires and how long it takes to actually create content. And you've been a content creator for like 10 years now. You're like the Mr. Beast of cybersecurity, man, or something like that. Yeah, so I would like to ask you, what excites you the most about creating and sharing the content that you're creating with the community? Is it the process? Is it like sharing your journey, your personal growth? What is it?
Yeah. Oh, thanks for asking. I really like to showcase stuff that I think is cool, that I think is fun, that I think is just generally neat. And still things that I hope are useful to people and their learning or whatever they're up to in their day-to-day. Because traditionally when I first started to create videos, it was supposed to be a lot of like programming tutorials, because that's how I learned, was from watching
those Python videos. I watched them all. I watched them all. Yeah.
And then programming was a lot of fun. It was super cool. That's how I learned, was watching other people on YouTube. And then I fell into the capture the flag scene. So I recorded a lot of CTF videos, and then Try Hack Me and Hack the Box came into existence. So there's a new like playground and war game for making that stuff.
Yeah.
Then with my current job, oh, maybe we can poke at some cheesy like malware samples or stuff like that, or what's going on in the dark web. So it's a lot of fun to just, I don't know, explore different avenues and outlets for cybersecurity that is this giant, massive thing.
Sure.
And yeah, I like to just showcase things that I think are fun and I think are neat. There are a whole lot of questions and comments or asks, like as you mentioned, hey, feeding the algorithm.
Yeah.
And when people want, John, can you make a tutorial series on something insane or awesome or unruly that I'm honestly not all that knowledgeable on? I like to joke really and just kind of laugh with myself, like, hey, it's called the John Hammond channel. So like it's going to be whatever John wants to put out.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I'll make videos on cooking at some point and be like, nah, that's just what John wants to do.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. It's a trend right now because of the quarantine and the COVID stuff and everything. People just got a lot into cooking videos, and that's great. Okay, so do you enjoy the creative process in itself? I know I enjoy it, like just like you said, sharing my learning journey. And okay, so you started with the programming stuff, the Python stuff, and then you got into the CTF world. But I'm specifically talking about, okay, so now you just recorded a video, you have to edit, you have to think about the thumbnail, you have to think about the description, the title of the video. How do you go about those things? Because that's a whole another world, right? You still have to worry about those things if you want people to watch your videos.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest, I really hate that stuff.
I knew.
Like editing takes so much time, and if you want to make it really good, then you put more edits in it, and you had the zoom pans and the flashy animation and B-roll and stock footage. It's like, it takes forever.
It
It
really
takes an
does.
eternity.
It really does.
I'm trying to get a little bit better about it.
Yeah.
But it's something that's just like, man, I don't know if I want to, because I think from what I gather, a lot of my videos have historically been, look, it's just me on a screen capture, like literally screencast. You're looking at what I'm typing on, and you see my face, and that's it.
Yeah.
And somehow that has done a decent job. I think that's gone well.
Yeah.
But it's not, a flashy, huge, incredible production quality, and I don't know if people care that much. When I hear a lot of feedback from people, it's like, no, John, I really like how you can get in the weeds, and then you'll run into a wall, and then you'll try to backpedal and step back to troubleshoot and debug and solve the problem once you know you've ran into a wall.
Yeah.
And that's not going to take some flashy B-roll. It's not a pretty package for education. It's just the raw, dirty, uncomfortable learning and education. So when it comes to a flashy thumbnail, I like to do it because I know it will help grow the content, get a lot of more clicks. But when it comes to the more enjoyable part, it's just recording. It's just doing it.
Yeah.
The fluff that comes from editing and making a thumbnail, an annoying part of the process.
Well, that's why I asked my wife to do my thumbnails, because I can't deal with it. But with the editing part, I really like editing videos. When I was like 15 years old or something like that, I used to make drum lesson videos on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah, and I would like spend hours trying to edit like every angle of the drum set and everything. So I've been editing video for a long time now. And I talk about this with Graham as well. And we realized that people don't really care about the quality of the video as long as it's not recording. It's not recorded with a potato, right? But,
Right.
People actually care about the information that you're providing and if you're providing value. But whenever I watch like a network chuck video or anything like that, I feel like, oh man, I wish I could
all
do
the cool stuff.
Yeah, man, I wish I could do something like that. His audio sounds so cool. These camera angles and everything, and the way he delivers information, that's a talent, because he can make like a 20-minute video and you're like glued to the screen the entire time. And that editing does a big part in that as well. But in your case, what I see a lot is sometimes you ask people on Twitter like, oh, I have this 1 hour video of me just rambling across some Python script and trying to work through this. Would you be interested in watching it? And almost 100% of people say yes, because they appreciate the struggle. They appreciate like you're trying to figure things out. Is that something you realize as well?
Yeah. It's funny because I think this is literally a Twitter poll that I put out like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it is.
I stayed up really late to record some malware analysis thing. And it's just like I kept making one mistake after the next, and it burned like 15 minutes of me doing something wrong, and then 30 minutes of me, I forgot something or didn't see it when it happened, and then 45 minutes, and I'm like, this is awful. Yeah. I hate this video. I don't want to upload this.
I understand.
But when I ask, like, look, do people want to see this for some reason? And it's like you mentioned, like, cool, close to 90% of people are like, yes, please let me see this content.
Yeah.
So I side with you in the network Chuck feeling. I always get super jealous when I see his stuff, but I know
he's so good.
He's got a sweet team. He's got an incredible group of people that are helping him out.
Okay.
And I haven't gotten out of the phase. Like I'm just a single person creator. David, I think you're in that same spot. It's like, okay, I don't have an editor on deck. I don't have a thumbnail creator on deck. I just try to put stuff out when I can. Maybe someday I can get a whole group of people helping me out, but for now we do it how we do it.
Yeah, for the thumbnails I have some help, but for the rest I do everything myself, and it's very hard sometimes because you have to come up with ideas, and I like to create entertaining content as well. Not only just like the hands-on stuff and the keyboard stuff and trying to solve an exercise or a box, an active box or something like that. I like to talk about things that excite me.
Sure.
And sometimes having an idea and trying to make a video talking about something, and if you think about it, people don't really have the time to watch a talking head for 10 minutes talking about like a random thing. People just like to scroll and watch 15-second videos right now, like the TikTok stuff and the Instagram stories and the YouTube shorts and everything like that. So that's why I said Network Chuck is like a master of this craft, because he creates these long videos and people are like glued to the screen till the very end, and he's great. And I'm trying to get good at that as well, while also doing some hands-on stuff. I like to find a balance between those two. Now, I'm going to ask you a tricky question, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot here.
Yeah.
But honestly, how far are you from taking a break from creating content to be able to have more time to focus and to invest in your personal career and in your personal growth as a security professional, just like TCM did when he decided that he had to prioritize TCM security and TCM Academy and all the stuff that he does, right? How are you on that? Is that something you think about right now?
Well, it's funny because I think you had even caught on to it when I had I recently put out a video was my integrity talk for the Lead Up conference that Integrity was doing. I gave a presentation called like Hard Truths and Unexpected Realities. Lamentations and being in cybersecurity, or producing content or making tools or anything of that like. And people were like, John, are you good?
I saw that video like 4 times. I really did because I understand what you're saying. The struggle is real. Yeah.
But people will genuinely ask in that same sort of question, like, hey man, do you just like need to chill for a little bit, take a break? In all reality, I have more of a forward answer with that. It's like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna keep doing this thing.
Awesome.
I don't need a break. I'm gonna keep gunning. Like, you're not getting rid of me till I'm dead, guys.
You know what you need? You need a Monster Energy sponsorship. That's what you need, man.
I sure do.
I knew it. Oh man, that's awesome.
I'll probably die from this eventually, but whatever.
Yeah, that's not the best thing for your health, but yeah, it keeps you going, right? Now, there's something I'm struggling a bit with, and on that note that we were just talking about, and I want to share this with you because I think your opinion will be very valuable for me in this regard. So let me just trying to phrase this out. So sometimes I find myself a bit lost in a pile of stuff that I have to do, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, right? And it doesn't matter if you work or study in cybersecurity or not. But if you think about it, you're like studying and you're trying to work and you're trying to finish it, maybe a degree, or you're focusing on certifications, and then you have your family, your friends, and you're also trying to grab some time to sleep maybe. And I've been thinking about this a lot. So would I be better focusing or on just one thing at a time, but like really obsessing over it and trying to get the most out of that experience and then trying to move to the next thing? Or should I just learn how to be like more efficient while trying to manage all these many hats? Because sometimes I think I'm not getting the most out of the stuff I'm doing at the moment, because I'm always worried about what the next thing is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your take on that.
That's a super good question, and it's a hard question because the answer is a little bit of a gradient.
Yeah.
I think. I am a strong believer and strong proponent that like human beings cannot multitask. I cannot multitask. You cannot multitask. As much as we think that we can, as much as we like, hey, I can watch Netflix while I'm doing my homework. It's just background noise. It's just, I got a television show or something while I'm trying to study or while I'm doing something, or like I'm listening to the news as I'm cranking out emails.
Yeah.
It doesn't functionally happen. It takes you too long to do what you were actually wanting to do. You are only half doing what you were trying to do on the side. And it's not, I don't think you can, and just my opinion. So I would probably fall into the bucket of you need to focus on one singular thing and sort of go all in on that. And when I was studying for a certification, whether it's OSCP or OSED or OS blah blah blah,
Yeah.
I would allocate the evening, like, all right, from 5 p.m. to whatever 2 in the morning, I'm just gonna watch these videos and I'm gonna study. I'm gonna do this thing, and I would do that every single night, and it would suck, but that's because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I could focus solely on that singular thing. I knew, there's plenty of other stuff tugging at me, but if I can just cannonball into this, then I'll do it right, and then I can go tackle all the other things.
Yeah.
And this is where I think it starts to shift in the gradient when I was saying in the answer, because I try to do a whole lot of stuff, and I'm sure you and plenty of others listening in also try to do a whole lot of other stuff. And that's where you probably have a sort of unhealthy, unmaintainable sense of cannonball. Everything leads to burnout, leads to stuff that you don't like. That is a balance, and that is absolutely a little bit of a juggling act to try and see what you can fit where. But if you can lean into knowing that you work best when you focus on one thing at a time, set that as your centerpiece, and then keep going. That is what I would recommend. And I guess the strongest takeaway is you can't multitask even if you think you can.
Yeah, I agree. But the hard part is to put that into practice, because if you're creating content and let's say you want to post every week, that's something that it's always on your mind. So what am I going to post the next week? Or I don't know if you probably have like pre-recorded videos that you'd release as the time goes. But even if you have that, you still have to record new videos in order to have new videos to post more down the line.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, if you're studying for an OSCP, for example, my thing is, I don't really think that you get the most out of that experience if you don't like create, like just like you did, like a specific time for you to just focus on that, just that. I'm studying for the OSCP, by the way. I don't know if you knew, but the value that you...
How's it going?
It's going well, actually. It's going well.
Cool.
My labs just expired. I think I'm going to need to get like an extension. But it's going very well. I'm enjoying it a lot. And on my Discord server, a lot of people are studying for it at the same time. So we are like helping each other. It's very good. And what I was saying is that I feel like the value that you get from the OSCP, it's really not about the certificate itself. It's about like the process that you go through and and how much hours you spend like hitting your head against the wall in your desk and like, oh, I suck at this, and then you figure it out, and then, oh, I'm great at this. And it's like this constant roller coaster that you feel while you're going through that. And I think once I finish it, I'm going to look back and think that, well, the certificate is not the real value that I got. It's really the knowledge and the experience I got from this journey. And to get the most out of that experience, you really have to put the time into it. You can't just trying to multitask a lot of stuff, because you'll find that even if you pass the certification, maybe you didn't do all the labs you could have done. Maybe you didn't went and did the course exercises, which are like a lot. I'm spending too much time on those. And yeah, I agree with you. I feel like Graham said the same thing. He does one thing that I found to be very interesting, which is he like focuses on one task, like one certification or one thing that he wants to do, and he just goes for it like a cannonball, like you said.
Yeah.
And then he gets it done. He takes like a week break, and then he focuses on the next thing. I think that's a very smart way to go.
One key phrase in there, he takes a week break. That's the key part.
It is because we tend to like keep the ball rolling, and
Yeah.
that's bad because your body will tell you, okay, we need to rest. We need to take a break. So now I want to talk a little bit about conferences with you. And we are going to talk a little bit about certifications more down the line, but about conferences. I have a couple of questions around this topic. Well, the first would be, is it worth it? But I could bet that you're going to say it is very worth it and everyone should attend to it. But it is very expensive for some of us that are not in the States to go to DEF CON, for example. I'm saving money and trying to do everything I can to go there because I want to engage with this amazing community that we have. And I think this is like one of the best ways I could do it. Just go there and meet you guys personally. So what I want to ask you is, how has been your experience going to these conferences, and has it changed along the years? Is it any different now than it was like before? Do you still recommend for people from all levels to go, like even the beginners that are just even starting? What do you think about that?
Yeah. I am actively wearing a ShmooCon shirt.
That's great.
I don't know how well, but ShmooCon was a conference that I literally went to just this past weekend when we were recording this. Again, hey, that is a United States conference over here in the DC area, so native and close by where I am. And it's funny because that was when COVID, the pandemic kind of started. ShmooCon was the very last thing that we were able to go to in all reality in 2019. And now back in 22, it was back in person. Totally following safe mandates, right? Everyone has the mask on and doing all the stuff that we need to do. But I had said and even tweeted when you have these stupid thoughts, it's like, man, a security conference is a lot like a family reunion in my mind, because you are seeing incredible people that you've met online. You're getting to spend some time with them, hang out and hack and drink some beers, or I don't know, just have a good time and chat. And it's surreal in all reality. There are a lot of times at conferences where you'll run into new cool people that you haven't met before, and that opens a new opportunity for you. Or hey, someone's hacking on doing some cool thing, or they have a group that does something that you're really passionate about, whether it's lock picking or whether it's security of Azure shenanigans, or it could be anything really. So you caught me red-handed. Of course, my answer is going to be yes, absolutely. But if there are folks listening in that aren't in that fortunate situation, hey, there isn't a local or accessible conference to me nearby, I always still kind of recommend those virtual events. We're here on Discord, we're here on Slack. I know it's not the same best thing, but hop into a lot of those, I don't know, hangout sessions. They might have like a after party, quote unquote, that's in a voice channel, or it's in a Zoom call, or it's in something where you can still see people. It's not the same, I realize, but it is a lot of that networking opportunity, that there's a lot of great camaraderie and really cool opportunities that come from it. So
yeah, I hope that we can do that here in Portugal, because we are a very small country. A lot of people like to say that we are like this little square of Spain. But so we have a great community as well. And I knew that before I got into cybersecurity, there used to be some conferences and some events that used to take place in Lisbon and Porto, which is like the two main cities here in Portugal. And for some reason, some of those events are not like taking place anymore. I don't know why. Maybe I can do something about that. I'll try. I don't know. But
I've thought about that. Like, man, if I just wanted to host my own conference and event,
wow.
it's an insane amount of work, and I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a thing that I would wish upon anyone.
Well, if you
But
partner with TCM and Hamsec and
ooh, yeah,
all those great guys, that conference would be like bonkers. Everyone would
have some
go.
fun.
Yeah, man. I'll try to go. I'll see what I can do. I really want to go. And Graham just said that he would pay for my dinner if I went. So now I have to take advantage of that. And also, I heard Lily's story about the way, because I saw the conversation you had with her, and she said that basically she had her interview in the DEF CON conference, and that just blew my mind. Like, wow, opportunities can really
You
come.
can do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And now she's doing great, and she's going to be the next guest on the Cybersecurity Web podcast.
Awesome.
She's great, man. Now let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room. Now, I didn't ask you, hey John, what is the best certification for anyone who's starting, and all those questions that you already answered like 1,000 times. And there's value in that, but I think there's too much of that content already on the internet.
Right.
Now, what I want to talk about is, first, how much are you struggling with getting or not getting that new Hack the Box certification, the Certified Bug Bounty Hunter? Or
Ooh.
what's your take on that? Have you took a look into that
So
certification?
I have took a look. I have taken a look, and it's interesting. I got a message from. I'll be totally truthful here, and hopefully I won't get yelled at for it. But Network Chuck's
Oh.
brother, Cameron, he's
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
jumping into a lot of the Network Chuck stuff.
He's
He'd
the
asked me like,
co-host,
"Hey John,"
right? He's the
Yeah,
co-host.
yeah.
Yeah.
and Cameron had asked me like, "Hey John, have you seen this new Hack the Box, or what do you think? Is it worth it? Is that cool, etc."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I haven't heard of this. What is this?" And they had tweeted like an hour ago when this
Yeah.
popped. Have this their hype video is amazing. If folks haven't seen that video,
Yeah, it is.
The promo has like rave music and it's super cool. But it is a new certification on a lot of web application security and web hacking that transitions and holds itself well to bug bounty. It looks like it's a collaboration between Hack the Box and HackerOne, which is super cool. Like
Yeah,
those are all
super cool to
great
see.
people and great
Yeah.
folks. Part of me is a little hesitant because I say, "Oh, you know what the world needs? Another web security certification." And I say that in jest.
Yeah.
I'm playing and just having some fun with my friends and that. But looking through the Hack the Box Academy stuff that they have is really, really good. They
Yeah.
are diving into SQL injection, local file inclusion, XXE, like web content discovery, subdomain enumeration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
All great things that you should realistically want to know getting into web application security and bug bounty. And it's very, very cool that they have that niche that they were able to find. It's like, all right, let's have a certification for hunting for bugs.
Yeah.
And I like it. In all reality, I'd like to go try it. I'd like to go
I think
pay
you
for the
should.
stuff. And yeah,
think
if
you
just
should.
because I know people will have those same questions, like, what
Yeah.
do you think of this thing? Is it any good? Is it worth it for me? And I want to be able to give them like a real valid answer. It might be stuff that folks are already well familiar with because again, it's some web things that we've seen. But there's nothing wrong with that. It could be presented in one fantastic way, and there could be a whole ton of value from it.
For sure.
So if folks haven't seen that, totally recommend go checking it out. Are you going to go take a look at it? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm working and studying for the OSCP right now. So
Yeah.
now I'm a bit busy, and the OSCP is kicking my butt for the moment. So for now, I'm not going for it. But I found it to be very interesting, and I posted something on Twitter. I think it was yesterday. I think that the best thing that could happen, or that happened to Hack the Box, sorry, was the creation of Try Hack Me. Because
yeah.
I think that Hack the Box was a little bit like stagnant for some time, and since Try Hack Me was created and they are doing like an amazing job creating content for beginners and everything, Hack the Box didn't have that much content for people that were just starting out. It was like, oh, here's some boxes, here's some IPs, go hack, have some fun. Now They have the academy that is great. They have this new, it's maybe beginner level certification, we could say.
Yep.
It focuses on web applications and those first concepts that you learn when you're trying to get your hands around that. And I think it's very interesting. And I don't think they will just have one certification. I think they will create more down the line. And I'm very interested in knowing what is TryHackMe going to do about this. Maybe TryHackMe is already working on something. What do you think of that? I think this competition between these two platforms just benefits the community, and because they are doing an amazing job.
Yeah. I agree. And as weird as it is because it sounds like a divisive thing to
No,
try and
it's
talk
not.
about it.
It's not.
No, exactly. You're right. It's not
Yeah.
at all.
Use
which is
both. Use both.
Yeah. I have always, like, I've worked with Hack the Box. I've worked with TryHackMe.
Yeah.
I like to consider, hey, I'm buddies and friends with the whole crew here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sway one to the other, et cetera.
Yeah.
I kind of, as you mentioned, love all the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
And seeing the new innovation from one to spark a new innovation from another
Yeah.
is really, really cool.
Yeah,
As
for
you
sure.
mentioned it. I would absolutely agree. It motivates me. Like, hey, I want to be part of the fun. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the academy looks great. The way they created it, and they are different platforms, and I think that's great, because if they were the same, there would be no point in that. And I don't know, maybe it's still expensive for a lot of people, but in my opinion, the prices are not that high for a subscription per month for both of those platforms. And I think people should take advantage of both, either Actobox or TryHackMe. They both have their strong points. And if you think about like 10 years ago, if you wanted to start with hacking and ethical hacking and with pen testing, what would you do? Like, there wasn't any of this. So we are very lucky. We are very lucky. And I receive a lot of messages, and I'm sure you receive them as well. People asking, what should I do first? Which one should I go for? Either it is about certifications or these e-learn platforms. How do you give advice to these people? Because everything has their purpose, and you don't want to say, oh, go for TryHackMe, but then Hack the Box is also good, and EJPT is a great certification, but maybe the Pen Test Plus will give you the fundamentals, and you just have to read a book, and it's not that expensive. But you see what I mean? Like, there's so much stuff. How do you give advice to people that come up to you and just want to start with pen testing and hacking and information security in general? Because this is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's a super good question, and an even harder one to answer, because there is no like one size fits all answer on like, how do I do it?
Yeah.
How do I start? What I try to tell people is, sure, I can tell you like what I did to get into it, but I realize that's very, very different from person to person.
Sure.
The answer that is a bad answer that I always come to is like, do the stuff that you like, do the stuff that you're interested in, which again totally gives people analysis paralysis, because they're like, well, I don't know what I like. I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah.
If I could probably boil that down even more, I would tell people, like, go look at TryHackMe, go look at Hack the Box, go look at EJPT, go look at Pentest Plus, go look at everything, and just sort of be like, hey, you're window shopping and see which of these looks the most approachable, which of these looks the most fun, and then try it. And then if you aren't having fun, if you're like, this is kind of stupid, I'm not enjoying myself, go bounce to something else, because there is so much out there.
Yeah.
I know that's a little bit more time consuming, but that hopefully will find you in the funnel that you have the most fun with, that you enjoy. Because that I think is the best advice for people, because whenever people realize, look, this is a fire hose of information, there are so many great resources now, where do I go? I don't know, honestly, but you'll find the stuff that you enjoy is the stuff that you're going to stick with.
And anything will lead to something, right? And I feel like sometimes people just get stuck with this, should I do this or should I do that, and end up not doing that much. And that's the problem, right? And what I found is that once you start to, just like you said, just start with something, and if that doesn't work for you, you can always like change things up, unless you just bought like an OSCP voucher for 90 days of labs, like out of the box, and you just YOLO through it, and you were like, oh, maybe this is a bit too too early for me. But yeah, are you going for the OSEE?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh
Thank
man,
you.
nice.
So when like before COVID and the whole pandemic thing got started, I had bought I jumped in for the Black Hat USA, is where they do the live training for offensive security's exploitation experts,
Expert,
or their
yeah.
OSEE,
Yeah.
all on their advanced Windows exploitation course. And now that's going to be like all hardcore crazy binary exploitation, like looking at a Windows kernels, like VM escapes, stuff that is way over my head, and I'm probably going to fail. It's going to suck, but I'm excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It got postponed in 2019, and they didn't do it. Well, it would have been 2020, and then they didn't do it in 2021. So now they're finally back in action. So this coming August, I'll be able to sit for that class in advanced Windows exploitation. I'm looking forward to it,
Yeah.
but it's going to be tough. I know it.
I'm sure you're going to smash it, man. I'm sure you're gonna do just fine. And whenever I watch a video from you doing a review of a certification, you always said, I was so nervous before the exam. My boss even sent me a message saying like, oh, you should be asleep.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
yeah. But then you always figured it out, man. And I heard that there's like a very low percentage of people that actually attend the course and then do the exam. Not even the people that pass the exam, but like people that just don't even try to do the exam, because that exam should be like insane, right? Do you have any insight on that? What would be an exam for those? Are you supposed to do those things like VM escaping and trying to what?
So the OSCP exam, right, is a 24-hour OSCP. Going back, it's a 24-hour exam, as you know.
Yeah.
And then the others that offensive security gives you are 48 hours.
Okay.
Like OSED, OSEP, all the other OSWE, OSEE, the one that I want to sit for, is a 72-hour exam. So up in the ante one more time, and it's, from what I hear, 2 problems.
Okay.
Like, that sounds so ominous. Like, okay, you have 3 days to solve 2 problems.
Wow.
Like, well, these are sure as heck going to be really difficult and mind-bending.
Those are not going to be an easy problems to solve.
Yeah.
Wow. 72 hours to solve 2 problems. Well,
I know I'm in for something.
Yeah, you are. I read a write-up of a guy that actually did the exam and passed, and he said that for the first 48 hours, he didn't got anything, and only after the first 48 hours, that must be so frustrating. You're like trying everything you can, and I don't think you really get that much sleep once you're into one of those experiences, right? Because you're very nervous, adrenaline is spiking, and I know that that's something that a lot of people tell you to do. Like, for example, for the OSCP, like, take breaks. You should take a nap or 2 if you need. Don't just like spend too much time going over the thing, because that might be a rabbit hole or something. How do you manage that? Do you force yourself to take those breaks? Is that something that you like, okay, I'm gonna set a timer for like half an hour, and if I don't get anywhere, I'm just going to take a walk and come back?
Yeah. When I was taking my OSCP exam, which would have been like in 2018 or 2019, around that time period, I knew, okay, the breaks are so important. So literally every hour, or whenever I felt like, okay, I made some progress, I would just like get up, I'd go walk around, I'd go like pace around the room, if just to like, okay, I know in my head I have some sort of access, what can I do next, etc. Where I can at least think while I'm not on the keyboard and frantic and have to do stuff.
Yeah.
Or just step outside, get a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And that was good. When you mentioned, okay, the other converse of that is like, you probably know that you need to sleep. For another offensive security cert that I was taking, I was not good about taking breaks.
Okay.
I was in the zone. I was like, I want to keep cruising, but then the dogs are whining, and I have to go take the dogs outside.
Okay.
I have to go take the dogs, yeah, to go to the bathroom and do their thing.
Yeah.
And I was stuck at a wall. Couldn't figure out how to do something with the database. And while I was outside with the dogs, when I was like, oh, I could probably use the SA account to do some impersonation thing, and just like, oh, and the solution just came to me
Well,
because
just
I finally took a break.
taking notes. Just take the dog outside to figure it out what to do.
Exactly. Step
Yeah.
away for a little bit is absolutely an invaluable thing. When you're in the moment, when you feel the adrenaline, you feel the pressure,
Yeah.
take like 5 minutes, take 10, take 15,
Yeah.
and something will just pop up and you'll be like, okay, cool. Now I can get back to it.
Yeah. So, guys, first step, grab a dog and go take a walk. Well, I'm glad I have Bite. Bite is my dog, so yeah, I
Excellent.
got that figured it out. I remember you said that before you did your OSCP exam, you went for a comedy show. Did that help to like get your head out of the OSCP
Yeah.
content and everything? I really took note of that, and I'm thinking of doing something similar, like 1 or 2 days before the exam, like going to watch the show or something like that, just to get my head out of that zone. Did that help?
Yeah. So it did for me, because when you take your first cert, like hands-on exam, culminating challenge thing, it's extremely intimidating because you just have no idea what it is. It's
Yeah.
your very, very first thing that you're up against. You just have no clue.
Yeah.
So the day before, it's the most scary time. You're like, oh my God, tomorrow. It's like the bomb's gonna go off. Like, I don't know. So I made sure, look, I don't want to do anything on the keyboard. I don't want to touch a computer. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
And we went to go see a comedy show.
Yeah,
and it was fun.
That's great advice. That's great advice, because that really helps you like chill out and have some fun. And yeah, man, that's great. You didn't remember that, right?
I think that would have been like 2 or 3 years ago. So I now that you jogged my memory, I was like, you're right. I did go see a show.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's great. Now that you're like going for that holy grail certification from offensive security, I'm really curious to think about what is next for you. Like, you just reach, like, there's no certification, and here we are talking about certifications, as there's always so much to learn, right? But as a guy that likes to do certifications and likes the challenges and to go for these adventures, what would you do next? Like, after the OSEE, like, would you ask like personally offensive security, like, could you please create something for me to
Make a new one, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, I feel like I don't need another thing to do. And it's not to be like, hey, a pretentious braggadocio thing. It's just to be like, I'm good. You know, I have a job that I absolutely love. It's super fulfilling, and I love it there. I just want to do my job. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. But as you mentioned, I think it's kind of fun to go tackle and learn something new, have a new challenge. So I'm still probably going to be exploring, hey, what is CRTO, or what is the EWAPTX thing?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, what? I know TCM put out his PNPT, baby. Do they have another one coming up in the pipeline? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't need any more, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of fun. It's a new activity. It's a new thing.
I totally agree, man. Certifications for me are like just a fun way to learn. And on that note, I know that some people like to say, oh, certification, certain certifications should be more like this or more like that, and everyone has their kind of their own opinion on how things should be done. And one thing that I would like to know from you is, what would be like the perfect certification for you? And I know this is very broad. But like, taking everything into consideration, like having like a free retake, being hands-on, having like the videos already organized, so you don't have like to rename all of them and put them into order like you do when you do like an offensive security exam. What would be those things that you would do to make like the certification the best you could make? This is a tricky one.
Yeah. Do you mean for the exam, like culminating challenge, or do you mean for like, hey, the learning process of the course and curriculum?
Yeah, like the whole package. So the
Okay.
course curriculum and then the exam experience. What would be like the perfect scenario for you?
That's a super tough question. I really like having a super tiny digestible challenge to go along with something that I would be learning.
Okay.
And that feels a lot like a capture the flag in all reality. That feels like, okay, here's a small, tiny terminal deployable instance. You can just go plop around and play with what you just learned, either watching this video or reading this thing to get a new technique.
Yeah.
I really like that learning style, and I don't know if I see it all too often. I think Hack the Box Academy is pretty close to it, but not exactly what I think. And for the exam, for like, hey, the cool learning material, I don't know. OSEP, the Experience Penetration Tester one, was probably hands down my absolute favorite thing that
really?
I've been able to learn and study because it's Active Directory.
Yeah.
It's like antivirus evasion. It is a little bit closer to like red teaming, and you could drop Covenant and you can drop Bloodhound and Empire and Mythic and all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think that's fun. I think that's attractive. I think that's cool. So I guess that might be the closest thing, but I don't even know if that's the right answer.
No, there's no right answer. We are just like going over it. And well, I think something that is important is the course materials, in my opinion, should be more versatile. Yeah, I for some reason I think that having like, let's say you have a PDF, and the PDF could be as long as they want. That doesn't really matter. Now, what I want to say is, if you have a PDF, the content is already there. So if you're going to make videos, in my opinion, the videos shouldn't be just like you reading the PDF. You see what I mean?
I'm
The
following,
videos,
yeah.
the videos should be just like as if you were solving a box or a room on the keyboard and talking. Okay, this is what I'm thinking now. This is, okay, remember this topic or this chapter from the book? If you don't, make sure you take a look into that. But here's what I'm thinking, and this is why this is working, or maybe this doesn't work because I'm not thinking about that. I think that would be a lot more helpful, don't you think?
Yeah, you're right. I realize it puts a little bit more weight
Yeah, for
and
sure.
responsibility like on the creator, like
Yeah.
on the author of the course and the curriculum, but the more resources that can be presented in a new, different way, the better. There might even be, here's multiple videos for one sort of lecture or lesson or module,
Yeah.
to talk about the same thing in a different way. I don't know. It's hard thing, as you mentioned, because
sure.
hey, so many people learn in so many different ways, but the more we can account for that, the better.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I take a lot of time to think about those things because, let's say a lot of people are doing like the CompTIA certifications, and because they are entry level and they are great if you're just like starting out and you don't know anything about cybersecurity or information security. And the Security Plus was actually one of my first certifications, if not the first. I know it was your first as well. And sometimes people ask me, okay, so how should I study for this? And you know that there's like the official study guide and the book, but a lot of people can just sit down and read like a 600 pages book because they just fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then you have, but then you have like, I'm forgetting his name. I think he's Mike Myers. This guy.
Professor Messer? Is
No,
that the one you're thinking of?
No. You have Professor Messer, but you also have I think it's Mike Myers. If it's not, I'm just going to add like a typo here in the screen. But he has this course, and I watched these videos and his course. And one example that I would like to give you is for cryptography. Cryptography is something that is very complex if you're just getting into it. And he explained that concept on a video with like, I don't know how you call it in English, but like toys. He had like two toys, cool. And he had like a lock, a physical lock, and he was like doing these things like for you to see what the concept was. So it was really like investing the time into putting the concepts and the material in a way that visual learners could learn. And I think that's very cool. So for people that are like trying to find the best study resources, that's why we talk in the beginning, you should just experience and trying to find what works best for you. So
Totally.
that's why I think it's impossible for a company or for a certification creator to do a perfect certification, because it's impossible to like do it in a way that all or everybody will find it to be the best way to be made or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I think we reached the end. I don't know if you have anything to add, anything you want to plug in. Now it's the perfect time for it. We are just close to 1 hour.
Perfect.
That's what I said. It looks like 1 hour is just the perfect time to do a podcast. I don't know why. After 1 hour, we just finished our questions. You have anything you want to say? Everything you want to put out to the world?
No, I mean, well, hey, thank you so much. This has been a real treat. It's been awesome to get a chance to hang out with you.
Man.
A lot of really cool things. And thank you for having, I don't know, some cool conversation starters and some good topics to dive into already set for us. So hopefully there were some good insights and nugget in there. But thank you. This has been a ton of fun.
Well, I just want to say thank you as well. This feels like I'm watching one of your videos. Like, yeah, this really feels insane still. But yeah, man, I really want to thank you. Maybe after you do the OSEE, we can do like a round 2 or something. That would be great.
Totally.
To get that experience and what you did learn and how it was. I'm sure you're going to do a video on it as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you like this podcast episode. Make sure you show some love, as always, to John. He's great. Pleasure to have you here, buddy. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.